folks, welcome to my hobby update. This is sort of a quick video, maybe once a month. This is to show you some of the projects I've been working on for myself and projects that I've got upcoming, and maybe at the end of the video a little collage of pictures of things we've painted for the commission company. Alright, so obviously I'm in a fantasy kick at the moment, so I've been really piling in on my Estalians and I'm loving it, really enjoying it, and I'm really happy that how the army's progressed. So the first unit is a nice basic one just to show you. These are what I call my reserves. This is from the Townsfolk box set that my buddy John gave me. These were the sort of town guard, and I just quickly got them matched to my Estalians. Like I said in the update, there was a couple of head swaps. Some of the guys have the Wargames Atlantic heads added to it. Most of the time in the games, these are going to be used for objectives and scenarios, like town watch, soldiers on patrol, that sort of thing. So they've got halberds, most of them. There's a crossbowman over there and a couple of guys with elite great weapon swords here. Those guys are actually going to be used in Age of Fantasy, as the human army have sort of a great sword unit, so that can be used in there. But yeah, so nothing much more to say. They nice figures. They scale perfectly with the Wargames Atlantic stuff and look great. So that's them done. And then this unit is the unit I'm quite proud of. This is called my Black Watch. As you may well be aware, that I'm using the rules from Warhammer Armies Project, WAP as it's normally called, and they have fantastically made unofficial Warhammer rulebooks, and they are free to download. Just follow the link, I'll put the link below, and it takes you to a whole load of different armies, the ones that are in the old world, but also the ones that they never got around to doing, like the Estalians. So the Black Watch has a little bit of lore in that they started off as a sort of a town guard unit that would patrol the night in the graveyards and the sewers and really put up a real tough resistance against all those things hunting the villages at night. And got a great reputation, and they have a massive hatred for the undead and for the Skaven. I really like the look of it. In the WAP book, they had one picture of a halberdier in full plate armor. That's what they equipped with. So I took that inspiration. Just say they're also now more of an inquisitorial guard rather than a town watch. But I went and found some STLs on Last Sword Miniatures. We had these figures are made out of 3 different STL kits. So the main bodies, which are, as you can see over there, are basically full plate armored warriors. These are from the Paymaster's Guard set, which I already had. I then went to their website and picked up what you can call, I think they're called the Ordus Draconis halberdiers heads, which are basically a vampire unit, but they had these skull helms with the feathers that I really liked. So I basically picked up those heads, and then I got the pikeman unit to get the command group and some bits and pieces from that, and then printed them all out in different parts, glued them together to make this unit. I didn't scale down the unit, so if you can see, if I'll just put this next to it over here, you can see they're still in scale, but I didn't want to scale them down because I wanted to make this unit look like they have basically the creme de la creme, the 6-foot guys that are picked out from the ranks to become this dominant unit. I think they look really cool. I think they came out really nice, really intimidating units. And I've obviously based them here on for Lion Rampant, or Dragon Rampant rather, so you got 2 units of 12. I do have a couple of spares which I haven't painted yet, which is to, for example, if I want to make one big unit, then I can take out the second command group and replace them with 3 normal guys. But really happy with that. That was a nice unit to do. I quite like the fact that they had an interesting lore to them, and I thought they would be really representative on the table. So you got the basic pikeman marching along, and then this real scary unit. I don't think they're going to be that scary on the actual rules wise, by the way. They're still only toughness 3 humans, but they have got full plate armor, and they do have basic strength 4. So that was another reason why I went for didn't scale them down, because most humans are strength 3 in Warhammer, but these guys are strength 4. So yeah, really happy with that. My black watch. So let's move them out the way. And move on to the next couple of things. So Titan Forge came out with the Scarlet Crusade. So the next bunch of stuff is going to be mainly from that set, as they brought out a whole lot of stuff for what I can only describe. They call the Scarlet Crusade, and they're effectively just Estalians, as far as I'm concerned. So I went through and picked and choose some of the stuff that I wanted. So this is a battle standard bearer with a character. So obviously I didn't have to do anything. This is straight out printed from the Patreon, and it's painted up as my battle standard bearer. So put him to this. This is the wizard. I quite like this figure. I know Carla's not a big fan with his crazy little weird hat, but I like this figure. It was really nice to paint up as well. Really simple. I don't like figures that are overly detailed, and you know, there's a lot of companies out there that tend to just mass on a ton of gubbins onto this thing. I didn't do that with this. I just kept it as that. And then another Inquisitor. So you can't have, in this army, you can't have more wizards than Inquisitors. So, you know, more Inquisitors are good. This is actually one that I really like, because my other 2 Inquisitors had a more of a popey look to them, whereas this one, he really looks like the part. So those are the characters I added to my army. So characters are building up nicely. I've got battle standard bearers, I've got wizards, Inquisitors, captains, all sorts of stuff. And then I thought I would show you these bad boys. So this is another interesting sort of little story. The book doesn't actually contain any monstrous cavalry. So if you think of the monstrous cavalry like Demigryph, riders for the Empire, those type of things. So you got like large mounts that are in the monstrous definition, but with, you know, the simple riders on top. And this was what immediately came to my mind. So this bad boy over here, he is the actual base model. So as you can see, he's that same character that's sort of similar to the battle standard bearer, but he came with a rock as well, which I didn't take the rock. So I just used him. He's going to be the unit champion for my bull riders, and then I printed out the bull a few more times, but then used the riders from the knights to add them to this unit. Very simple. You know, you just print out what you need, and there you go. So I got 3 there. I did actually have 4, but the 4th bull misprinted. As you can see, there's a couple of the horns that are misprinted as well. I'm not too bothered about that, but the 4th one, his actual head misprinted. So I got the rider already, and I painted him up, but I need to print out another bull, and then I'll have 4 of these, and I'll use the Demigryph stats, you know, for the rules. But I was pretty happy with these. As soon as I saw them, I was like, oh, that's definitely what I was looking for. You know, a big monstrous cavalry unit that makes them stand out as their own type of unit. I know it's, you know, very simple to just say they're Demigryphs, but yeah, it looks cool. And that's the main thing, isn't it? The rule of cool. So that's another unit done. Let's move them to the side. And then we go to another character. This is a Griffin. So I wasn't planning on adding a Griffin to the army, or a character on a Griffin, because as you may have seen in the previous Estalian project updates, I was hoping to, basically doing like a sort of Portuguese version of the Estalian army. So a lot of explorers, that sort of stuff. And they're going to be traveling around the old world in their ships. And, you know, Griffins are very hard to transport on a ship. But Griffins can fly, so there's that. But this model was just too cool not to print out and paint. This is, again, from the Scarlet Crusade patron from Titan Forge. Only difference is, the guy in the back is the same guy that's on the bull, which is the same guy as the battle standard bearer. I didn't want to replicate him over and over and over, so I printed out the body, but then printed out a different head from a different halberdier set and added him to this, just to make him stand out and make him unique. and the rock I think comes with the miniature, but they come on a like sort of wood slat bases, so I didn't bother with that. But I couldn't resist. You know, it's just such a cool miniature. There's like a couple of things that I'm really into in especially Greek mythology, which is minotaurs and griffins and hydras, those type of things. As soon as I see them, I can't resist. So there you go. I have now a character on a griffin, and I'm super chuffed. He's definitely going into the army. And then finally, I wanted something big, so I've got me a giant. This is also from Titan Forge, but this is not from the Scarlet Crusade set. This is from a set I've been a patron for theirs for years now, and this was from a set I think about 2 years ago called the Old City or something like that. You can still buy it now. It's still available on their website. It comes with a big howdah, and the city guard have a very similar sort of look to the conquistadors, but not quite, slightly smaller. And I just wanted this guy. A giant is always cool. You know, similar to the ogres, they have that mercenary sort of rule, so you can add them in, and he is fantastic. He doesn't come with that rock. That rock is actually the rock that came with the bull rider character, and I just added him into here, and I painted up the howdah a little bit, but then decided I don't want the howdah. He looks much bulkier without the howdah, so I left it off just to give you an idea of scale wise. That's the griffin. He's a chunky boy, and if you wanted to see what a wizard looked like in front of them, yeah, he's big, and really happy, really impressed with that. So yeah, those are all my new elements to my stallions. I have a couple of other bits that I could show you from other projects that I'm working on. I see already that the video is traveling on a bit, but I'll be back in 1 sec and we can show you some other bits and pieces. So what we have here is 5 sample guys of my new Iron Cross army for Grimdock. This is going to be using the Feudal Guard rules, and it's a second army to face against my Jade Dragons, my Eternal Dynasty stuff. These are the Isaacan troopers from War Games Atlantic, and I had originally some of the original ones from Dreamforge games, and then they got bought by War Games Atlantic, and they started making some more stuff for that. So I've got quite a few of these, and I've been wanting to use them for stormtroopers in my Conflict 47 army. But then, you know, I got into Grimdock, and I've been watching. If you haven't seen it, go check out Sad and Lonely Gamer's current campaign for the Grimdock future. It's quite fun, really interesting. It got me interested in doing a second army so that I could do a little bit of campaigning with my friends. So this is the first 5 troopers. So the idea is I'm going to build up about 25-30 troopers in this sort of style, and then add some giant walkers and some tanks and some little walkers and things like that, and build out a second army and then do some campaigning. Alright, so there's nothing massive about these. I just went for a very quick basic color scheme. They're black with some yellow, and then some embellishments of like chipping armor and glowy eyes, that sort of thing. I'm not convinced about the bases. These are the Sedition Wars bases. I had the Kickstarter from way back, and you know, I got the bag of these bases, and I was like, do I use them or do I just use normal bases? And I thought, you know what, I got these bases. Let's use them. See how they come out. Anyway, so one more thing to show you, and the final thing for today is this undead cockatrix. So this is basically 95% done. I've got to just do the dead eyes and the beak and sort of stuff like that. But I wanted to show you this because I've been adding some bits to my halfling armies. So this is for my undead halfling army, and I got like sort of a, I don't know, fantasy has been taking me by storm at the moment, as you saw with my stallions. I got an idea to do a little 3-link scenario with my undead halflings, so I wanted to start adding some more stuff to them. I've got this cockatrice from TT Combat. Obviously my shield maidens have the live cockatrice. This is the undead version, again from TT Combat. Really nice model. It looks suitably dead. I've painted up in the exact same color scheme as the shield maidens one, so with the green and the orange and the black. But obviously just this is a dead version. And then just for fun, there's a dead goblin at the bottom there. But I've been thinking about what I could add to my halfling armies. The shield maidens are really tough at the moment because other than just adding more shield maidens, I can't think of anything interesting to add to them. Then obviously I noticed that TT Combat have a new Kickstarter out, which I'll put a link in below. And they've got some new units for all their halfling ranges that they currently have, plus some other ranges. So for example, the undead, they have new Graveguard, new Blood Dragon vampires, halberdier, armored skeleton warriors, a black coach. So they got some really cool stuff to add to this, but also shield maiden berserkers. So you know I'm stuck in there already. So yeah, so that's got me pumped to get some more stuff for that. And obviously I'm working on the Grimdock future stuff, so sci-fi fantasy is what I'm doing at the moment. But I got a ton of other stuff that I'm looking at doing. I picked up the Blood and Valor rulebook from, I can't remember what the company's name is now, but to do some more Zulu War stuff with that. And I've got loads of other projects in the line. Subscribe and you'll keep in touch with everything that I'm doing. It's going to be crazy. Hope you guys like it. We've got some other projects as well. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate all the support. See you guys later.